MMA Rants and Raves, UFC 125, Frankie Edgar versus Maynard 2 for the UFC Lightweight Championship of the World. Guys, let's talk about this fight. Before I do, I just got a message for you goofs out there. And I'm talking about you goofs who are basically, talking a lot of nonsense and vlogging and blogging about how this fight was going to be so boring. Well, I got a message for you goofs. You're out of your freaking minds. This is one of the most exciting fights in recent times. Very exciting fight. And really interesting to watch. Let's talk about it a bit. First round, it just seemed like, Edgar versus Penn, deja vu. It looked like he was implementing the same game plan, fighting on the outside, of his opponent, while his opponent is trying to attack him and time him with the head movement. I remember when BJ Penn was trying to time this guy, and just watching this guy was making me tired. How was he going to time him to hit him with something, and then by the time you're trying to time him with something, he's coming at you like a cobra and stinging you, and then, basically going back out again. And it can really frustrate you, and also, defeat you because you get hit and you get attacked. And you don't expect it, and then get taken down when you don't expect it. And it seemed like that's the way the fight was starting. He was throwing leg kicks, and he was hitting Maynard, and he was going out. Coming in, going out. But then, out of nowhere, he blasted Edgar with a punch, decked him, and just was relentless like a mad dog. It's been a long time since I've seen a man take a beating like that. It was like flashbacks of the Carwin and Lesnar fight. Of course, Edgar was trying to get back up again and run out of the way, but every time he did, just came at him. He was really battered. He was looking wobbly. He was running away, trying to stay alive, And, it's really interesting because throughout Edgar's career, we've known what a tough guy he is. He's never been knocked out, not even close. He can take punches. This kid can really take a lot of punishment, but I didn't expect that he could take punishment like this. And we know how hard Maynard hits. He hits hard. That first shot just planted him. But he just has a really good chin. That's what it comes down to. When he has resolve, he has heart, and that's what kept him going in that first round. I'm telling you, and I have to give props to the ref. I think it was Abe Levine for not stopping that fight. There were points in time where he was just blasting, smashing Edgar. He was getting smashed, and the fight kept on going. And he was intelligently defending himself. He just kept on getting back up again. And I could just imagine what was going through Maynard's mind. What is it going to take to put this kid away? And then, first round ends. Second round, you see Edgar, looks very fresh. He seemed to come back from that beating very well. He was fighting, well, and he was using his movement again, his technique, his punching. So we saw that big dominant takedown. And third and fourth round, also, really good technical battle between, striking and takedowns, and takedown attempts, and takedown defenses. It was just a really true mixed martial arts fight in the context, I would say, of striking and wrestling. Now, of course, we saw a nice guillotine attempt at the end of one of the rounds by Edgar. Fifth round, it seemed like Maynard was more aggressive. It just, by the time that fifth round came along, you could see both fighters were slowing down. But Maynard looked like he was taking the center, being aggressive. I want to look at total strikes. The numbers came out to Maynard 93 and Edgar 97. But, of course, you have to look at takedowns, takedown attempts. You have to look at aggression. And you got to look at that first round, which was really, really explosive. And you got to look at the total rounds. I saw Maynard having an advantage in this fight. A slight, well, of course, the first round, you have to look at that. But I see him having an advantage in the fight as far as throughout the fight. And maybe, siding with giving him the victory. But, with criticism that the judges have gotten over, very questionable decisions that they've had, I would say you really can't blame them for this decision. This was just a very close fight. Whether you're a casual fan or you're somebody that's a diehard, if you watch this fight, it just seemed like it was going back and forth. When it looked like one guy was in trouble, the other guy came back, and vice versa. And it was just a really, really close fight. Very exciting to watch. There were some things that happened in this fight that would make highlight reels. That big dominant takedown that Edgar had that surprised everybody. I think the opposite what happened because of what happened in the first fight. You look at that first round, the way Maynard was coming at Edgar like a mad dog, blasting him insane, and the way he was able to come back with his heart and his resolve, really tough chin. Heart of a champion right there. There's no question about it. Another point I wanted to make about Edgar. If you look at the guy, he looks like a 12-year-old kid. He just doesn't look like this rugged, tough fighter. But then when you get in there with him, you see how tough he really is and how great a fighter he really is. It was really something. But anyway, if you look at all the 5 rounds, judges actually scored it a draw, and this kind of surprised me because it was a title fight. And I can't remember a UFC fight or an MMA fight and a championship fight that's been called a draw. Maybe you guys can help me out on this. I just don't remember on top of my head, especially a UFC fight. So that was kind of surprising, especially the way the judges have been scoring things lately. You would think they would at least side with somebody, split decision. But it was a very close fight. So anyways, I see these two guys, having a rematch, and when they do, there has to be a defining factor to break the stalemate. What I mean is, they're both really good strikers and really good wrestlers. There has to be a submission or something else that's going to break that stalemate. Like, for example, Maynard, dominated Edgar in that first round, maybe a submission attempt, a rear naked choke attempt. There were times when he had Maynard's back. So maybe something like that to finish this guy because he's just so tough. I was very impressed with Frankie Edgar. The way he came back from that first round, it was just incredible. I don't know how many fighters can do that. It's heart, determination, and the heart of a champion. It's right there. And then you got Maynard, Maynard, incredible performance by this guy. I didn't even think his striking was that good. He was really good at timing Edgar. You have to understand that. It's the accuracy of this guy is incredible. He was able to time Edgar. That's a very difficult thing to do. And here's a guy, who's able to do it. He sure did it in the first round. So anyway, it was a really good, exciting fight. We'd like to know what you thought about the fight. And of course, about a potential rematch with these two. Please leave your comments below the video, rate this video, and subscribe. And thank you for tuning in.